What's up, everybody? You tuned in to Rightfully Structured. I was just recapping on when I first set boundaries. But first, what made me set the boundaries is that I realized that I was giving way too much. Like loyal to a default, like friends or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You need me or we chilling, whatever, I'll do shit on the drop of a dime, even when it comes to family. If you really need me, I'm there. And the ones that know. I don't care about other people's opinions or whatever, because people know what time it is. I was loyal to a default, like to the point that it was like I wasn't getting the same, wasn't reciprocated. So once I started understanding, like, okay, I step back and I'm looking at all these different scenarios with different people, and I'm like, damn, I started feeling like a fool. Like, okay, the second that I say something or whatever, people don't move the same. You can sit there, and I'm gonna give you just a short example. You can go over somebody's house all the time, like all the time. Go way out of your way, go over somebody's house all the time. But when you realize that things ain't the same, and you pull your energy back, pull yourself back, and you had to like, all right, nah, this is just overdoing it. Then you're gonna start seeing the true people, who's really there, who's really with you. Because somebody that's understanding, they're going to ask you, they're going to have a conversation with you. They're not going to go and talk behind your back. You know, I had situations that things wasn't mentioned to me. And then later down the line, it's like it was brought out like a joke. And then it started being serious. And I'm like, I'm not even trying to hurt anybody's feelings for real. That's the type of shit I was on, to be honest. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I knew what I was doing. I knew why I did it. But I wasn't I wasn't in a place of trying to explain things, because I was trying to understand how far am I going with this new beginning that I was on. I had to understand a lot of things with me, because that was just a stepping stone right there. That opened up another gate. That opened the gate wide open to like different aspects of my life that I had to reevaluate. But I noticed I was being criticized, joked about, and you know what they say. Most jokes got a lot of realistic shit to it. So you know that didn't bother me. I could take jokes or whatever, but I knew eventually it was going to come a time that I was going to have to speak my truth. I was going to have to tell people why I did what I did individually. I was going to have to tell them why I did it individually, and that times came. It was way back, but years ago. And I think back and I'm like, dang, I'm proud of myself that I was able to catch on and make changes the way I did. Healthy changes for myself. Because if you don't put yourself first, nobody else really gonna put yourself first. You might have a very small chosen few, if you catch me, that will actually be concerned about your feelings more than you or like you should be. A very few. Other than that, the vast majority, they not even concerned about themselves. So how they gonna be concerned about how you should be treated or felt? How you should feel? So that's how you gotta look at it. I'm so glad that I was able to break it down the way I did. That was hard for me. I ain't gonna lie, because when you're doing something that's not normal, or it's out of your box and it's actually something good for you, it can actually feel like something bad too, because the fact that no one else is doing it, so you're the only one. Especially in that situation, if you're the only one doing it, and now it seems like everybody around you is looking at you like, oh, you're changing, oh, you're this, you're that. No, this the thing. Change brings change. How can you change? How can you change something in your life and not expect things to change around you? It doesn't work like it's going to work like that. I could take it way back in my teen years when I used to smoke weed. And when I went cold turkey one day, I just woke up and I was like, I'm done. And that was tough. And I'm known for those type of situations. I would wake up and just change things just like that. Stop something on a cold dime like that. And I just recall the reactions I was getting from people. You would have thought that you'd have thought that I was on like a like on trial with co-defendants, and everybody think I'm about to snitch or something like that. It was like it was so intense like that. Like people didn't know how to take me because I did something good for myself, which is sad. And it's sad, but I get it. I understand why. You can't expect something from somebody that don't understand. That's why when you understand in your environment is different, it's still the same. That's why you're supposed to grow and move on from it. Hopefully they catch up with you or whatever, but you got to change. But back to the subject, when I set them boundaries though, man, it was like conflict. I mean, all around me, because I was like, man, I was like a professional bowler or something. I was like knocking them down, strike, strike, strike. I was like striking them out, and it wasn't about anybody's feelings, and I was respectful about it. I let people know straight up, tell you how I feel about it, why I did what I did, and if you understand it, then we can be cool. We can still do whatever, chop it up. But I know that these boundaries gonna be set. No different from just so what that we came up together, we grew up together, this and that. That doesn't mean that I should be stuck doing the same stuff, the same thing that you want to be stuck doing. That doesn't make any sense. That's why you gotta have your own mind. That's how a lot of people get themselves caught up in situations they can't get out of, because you might have it in you to change certain things and set these boundaries, but if you don't, you might end up putting yourself in a situation that is too late. Now you're forced to dwell on it. But even with that, you still have a chance to change these things. Set boundaries still. Learn from your mistakes. A mistake is a lesson. It's an experience. That's one thing that you should understand. Just because it happened and it feels bad or whatever, yeah, okay. But it was a lesson. What did you learn from that lesson? You gonna repeat that lesson, or are you gonna move forward in a better light? That's the key. And setting boundaries with people, whether co-workers, family, whoever, strangers, whoever, they need to be set. Because when you don't set boundaries, that's how a lot of people they they be in these situations and they got people that just say anything out their mouth to them. And that's a boundary right there that should have been set in place. First of all, it's about respect, and I always say that. Back in my PlayStation days, I think that put that in my little line in my bio, whatever. Respect is everything. Because I live on it. That's like, respect is everything. Whether any situation, you step out that door, I'm not worried about what somebody feel or think or whatever about me. I'm gonna approach the situation in respect, with respect, should I say? I'm gonna approach it. I'm gonna approach it with respect until there's no respect. So if we speak, or whatever, you know, if I speak, you don't speak back. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I just see that as a okay, as a situation. I just know that I can't speak to you, even if it's just a stranger. No feelings, you know. I done had situations like that. Somebody didn't speak, I speak, they don't speak, and then all of a sudden, you might come across them again an hour later, and now they got something to say. And I mean, you can return that energy and just don't say anything, or you can just, you know, because people go through things. People can be people. We all are human, so you can go through things and feel like, out of respect, let me go back and try to fix this situation. You might not know this person's doing that. They might see that, you know, they was being mean or whatever. That's why it's good to see things from a different standpoint, man. You gotta can't keep a cold shoulder all the time. That like makes your heart heavy. And you gotta understand that people go through things, and you know nothing's perfect. Try to understand that we all go through something. A lot of us don't know how to deal with ourselves, and that's the case out here. Most cases, people are trying to find themselves, so we can't get too personal about how somebody act or react because they've been doing it for so long. They don't know how to deal with themselves. So yeah, we can get upset. You have the right to be upset or feel some kind of way because somebody's acting a certain way, but it's good to just try to understand sometimes that maybe it's something bigger than what we see. And reason why I brought that up though is because I experienced a situation today. Well, it wasn't today. It was actually like yesterday, and I spoke with two individuals that were together. They didn't say anything to me. They heard me clear. They didn't say anything. So okay. Cool. I didn't react. I didn't feel any kind of way about it because I don't know what people going through. I just, I could sit here and assume all types of things, but I still won't know their situation. So I left it at that. Mind my business. Then the next day, I'm coming down the road and I see one of the people that was like one of the people that I tried to speak to, the woman, and she actually, I looked at her, and in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to say anything, thinking about what was done to me. But in my heart, it's like, you don't have to be that way. You don't have to be that way. I don't want to make my heart cold because I'm basically trying to live off of how somebody's trying to make me feel. That's basically what it's doing. If you're going to base the way you do things off of what other people do all the time, then you're living the way they want you to live or whatever. Not saying that you should always gauge everything and you know do the opposite or whatever the case may be, but she spoke, so I spoke back, and she smiled. So what I got from that, and let's clear this up. It wasn't a situation that she was an older woman, and apparently that was her husband. So it wasn't like, oh, she found me attractive. Or, no, I didn't get anything like that. But I can tell that maybe it was something going on at the time when I came across them. That's why they both was acting like that. But she had a different attitude the next day when I seen them. So I felt like I handled the situation well because I didn't respond. I messed up. I didn't react or anything. I left it at that and I moved on. The next day, it was clear. The air was clear. So, with that said, everything doesn't require a reaction. Sometimes you just gotta let people live out their life. You did something right. You was polite. And I'm not sure if that situation, she felt like maybe in her heart that she knew she was wrong for the way she acted. Maybe that could have been the case. Who knows? But the fact that she was woman enough to address things correctly the next time she seen me, she didn't apologize. But the fact that she spoke was like an apology in a way to me. Because she didn't have to speak. She didn't speak the first time. So, I'm looking at everything as a lesson, it's an experience. Can't be so quick to judge or react to things sometimes because we all going through things. We got billions of people on this what should I say? I'm in the US, so billions of people on the US, and not to mention the planet though. But everybody's going through something. Everybody's got to go to a job, got to go here, there, here, there. You don't know what people are going through that you're crossing daily. So with all this confusion and everybody trying to get somewhere, it's going to be some type of aggression or anything. But you as an individual, you should find it in your heart to be your better person and deal with things correctly. That's what makes the world better, because when you transfer that kind of energy and you be the way you should be about things, a lot of people are going to fall into play with that. They're going to realize that they're reacting incorrectly because you're acting correctly. You're going to force people to reflect on themselves without even forcing them, really. I've seen it too many times. It doesn't always require a reaction or being messed up about it or anything. Sometimes you don't have to say anything, because the way a person reacts and how they deal with it, they can ruin themselves, because whole time you done moved on, you ain't even tripping off of that, but they're reliving it in their head. Like they might have been going through something and they reacted wrong, but now it's like it's reflecting on them like, damn, they had to do that. And to be honest, I don't like living like that. That I have to think back and be like, man, I shouldn't have did that. So me as an individual, I try to like step with my best foot forward. Not perfect, but at the same time, if you got common sense and you're using your head, you got enough time to think about the decision that you're making when you respond to things too. Not saying, oh, you should be like, no, I'm not trying to paint anything. Like I said, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I can react like, man, what the hell? Like somebody cut me off or something, but I'm not like getting all aggressive and stuff like that. But just a simple reaction, yeah, that's cool. But don't let it take you out of your character, because that type of stuff gets deep. And I realized, I mean, I used to be one of those people. I didn't like nobody cutting me off back in the day, so it got real crazy. I'm not gonna be honest about it, cussing people out, all that. But no, what does that add up to? Chaos. Sometimes you gotta understand that you don't need to react or respond to certain things, because even if you do, some people are so deep in their own poop that they're not even going to understand when you respond to them correctly. They're not even going to accept it, because they're so deep in their own stuff. They're not even going to accept it. So when you don't respond or you deal with it correctly, like smooth about it, that alone right there, most cases, is going to put a person in their head and make them reflect on themselves, because they didn't even get what they expected out of it. And that's the aggression. That's what most people get out of that. They think because they did all this yelling and hooting, oh nah, that's not solving anything. All that really does is create tension. Me, I know my capabilities. I know shit. Really, I scare myself. That's what made me want to change things completely about myself, and just be able to like understand people, and just be able to move different. Because if you live like that, based off of others and how they react and do things, and you absorb yourself into their world, man, that can get so deep, because there's so many people in this world, and you're gonna come across so many people, and you're gonna get pulled into their world all the time. That's why I say it's really no need to react or respond to a lot of things, because most of the people you're not even gonna see them again. So what does it matter? That's a waste. That's a waste of energy. Keep that energy. Keep that good energy. Don't put that in that. I know I kind of went off the subject about, well, not a subject. I just was speaking on setting boundaries when I first started setting boundaries. But, when you get to talking on things and other stuff come out, and I feel like, this is a perspective that people need to understand. It needs to be heard. Because I'm quite sure that it's going to be people out there that can relate to it. Whether they pass that point and they're in the point where I'm at, or they're in the beginning point of just trying to deal with things correctly. I just want to talk about that for a second. Till next time, y'all be easy out there.